Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, all you kangaroos. This is Sir David the Bard. And I don't use my introduction anymore because it takes so much time. And I'm getting lazy. It's a beautiful introduction, so just imagine it. All the clapping and everything, like I'm really on stage and not in a closet. Anyway, I want to do a video here on credit. How to fix your credit or how to expand your credit. Now, I'm not an expert, believe me, but I've been down in the mud and the blood and the beer, so I know from the ground up. I know how the ground up this stuff works, okay? Now, for many, many years, and don't tell anybody this crap, don't tell anyone, I didn't give a shit about credit because if you have cash, you don't need credit. Things have changed a lot in 40 years. A FICO score was a joke 40 years ago. Those companies had no power whatsoever, and you could just ignore their ass. Equifax was more in the East, and TransUnion, I think, was in the Midwest, but Experian is here down in Kangaroo City. They use Experian a lot, and it's a bitch. It's the one that's the hardest. Anyway, here's what I found. If you don't pay your bills. Now, this is just hypothetical. This is not me. This is not me. This is my friend in Santiago, Chile. He told me this crap, so I'm just passing it on. If you don't pay your bills, here's what the creditors generally will do. Unless they're Danites. Ah, shit. If you owe the fucking Danites, pay, pay, and pay, and pray, and pray. Anyway, an average creditor, they'll write to you whatever, 7, 8, 10 times, okay? Now, here's the secret. There's many secrets that San Juan, Puerto Rico, told me. See, he's everywhere. He goes all over the world to learn this stuff. After they send you 7 or 8 notices, and then, of course, the envelopes become pink, then they become red. So you know damn well that isn't going to be good news if you open it. So you got to be careful these days because everything is barcoded. You've got to scratch through that barcode so the computer can't read it, and then put an arrow back up to the corner so it will return to the sender. Now the sender has to go, shit, did they get this? Did they open it via Steam? Did they read it? Damn, all the scary things we said inside they didn't get to see. We'll send them another one. So they send it over and over again. Now, let me tell you some of the new things that are going on. There is an envelope, excuse me, that looks like a Social Security or government envelope. You have to tear down the sides and then tear across the top, and then it opens up like an awards letter from Social Security. So old people that see that go, shit, I'm getting an extra check. No, you're not. You're getting this in an envelope. So pretty soon the original creditor, they don't want to give it to a collection agency because the collection agency will take 50 or 75% of what they collect. So you can put, now this is what my friend from Puerto Rico says, you can put deceased on the letter, cross out the barcode, put the arrow back up. Now I remember years ago, San Juan told me this, Richard Gomez, they said what happened is J.C. Penney's was chasing them. And finally, J.C. Penney had their phone number. And back in some days, you couldn't get an unlisted phone number. I certainly recommend that, according to San Juan. And anyway, they would call. Well, that's an aggravation. So what I have found is that when J.C. Penney was calling, they said, well, is Sir David the Bard Gomez Rapaz, Rappel, Santiago there. I said, well, no. He passed away about 4 days ago. His funeral's coming up. Were you calling to donate flowers to the ceremony at the funeral? Well, no. We're sorry. And they hung up. So last he heard of JCPenney, they fell for the dead one. We're wasting our time. This guy is dead. So anyway, sometimes that will slow them down. Or sometimes it will actually stop them. Now, you can also put forward. Like, Gomez has moved to Boston. So you cross out the barcode and put forward, general delivery, Boston, Massachusetts. So all of that shit goes through, and it goes to Boston, and it's like Santa Claus. They don't have a bin for general delivery, so they just toss it. So anyway, if the creditors think they're getting to you, they'll keep going. They'll keep going. Now, here's what Richard Gomez told me from Peru. He knows a lot of shit in Peru, too. Sends it down here to Kangaroo City. Anytime your phone rings, you can say, hello, and then if the other end of the line says, is Mr. Kangaroo Maroney there, you never say yes. When you say yes, they're allowed to attack. They're allowed to attack. So you go, who's calling, please, and what is it in reference to? Well, now they're off their program. So they'll say, well, this is Jenny Lynn, and Weight Watchers wants to talk to him. It's personal business. When I was in insurance years ago, 40 years ago, to get through the secretary, say, this is a personal call for Mr. Wonky, and we would get through. Well, these days, I have learned, because I practice San Juan's book. He's got a book out, How to Screw Your Creditors, and I read it every day. So anyway, when they call, who's calling, please, and what it's in reference to, they'll say, this is Jenny Lynn, and it's a personal business for Gomez. Say, I'm sorry, I paid for this line, and I don't want you on it. Please don't call again. And goodbye. They can't do a thing, because until you identify, yes, this is the Mickey Mouse. Talk to me. Now, they can say, we're going to sue your ass. We're going to take your car. We're going to take your wife. We're going to string your kids up by their feet until you send us at least $1. I don't care. The kids learned how to hang by their feet years ago in every state in the Union. So anyway, don't identify yourself. You take charge of the phone call. You do not say whose residence it is. Now, I hate it when you have children, because they'll say, is Senior Gomez there? And Allison will go, yes, just a moment, please. Damn! You slapped the crap out of the kid. You go, you don't identify the last name on this residence, and don't tell anybody I'm home. And of course the kid goes, well, he's trying to screw the world. My dad, you know, he's not really my dad. I'm adopted. So anyway, that's one way to stop the phone calls. The other way is just to change the number to an unlisted number, and do that every 6 months, and they can't get those numbers. Well, now, now that I've laid the basis for Puerto Rico book, let me tell you this. There's 3 credit agencies. They are not FICA. FICA is a different corporation and company than the 3 credit agencies. Well, the 3 credit agencies never talked to each other years ago. Oh my God, now it's like a mirror. Anything that's on one generally is on the other. So what screws your credit up the most are house payments. If you're behind in your house payment, you're in the doghouse. You are in a doghouse. Don't be late on your house payment. Car payments are another thing. If you get behind on that, that's heavy on your FICA score that they count against you. Now, if you owe the telephone company $150 and it's in a collection agency, and you owe Chevron gas and whatever, there's a lot of ways that you can dispute that. You can go right on the web and dispute it. Does it work? Sometimes. Does it work good? Not all the time, because I think when you dispute it, the credit TransUnion will go to the creditor and say, is this a real bill? And the creditor will say, of course it is, and your dispute is in the poop chute. So disputing it between the credit agency and yourself doesn't work very well at all. But I'll tell you what does work. I got to be careful because people... Anyway, here's what works. There are some legitimate credit fixing companies. Now, when you figure you're going to have to pay them $100 to get started and $75 a month. But here's what they do. They write to the original creditor, the original bill, and they just ask a million questions because they can under the law. And some secretary is going to have to sit there for an hour and a half and collect all that information and then send it back, and then the credit agency sends them another one and says, we don't understand paragraphs 33 through 133. Please explain. And they have to do it again. And pretty soon these credit repair companies can beat the crap out of them. And finally the lady goes, screw it. For $150, we've already spent $200. Let it go. And it'll go off of your credit and your score will go up. Now be aware of this. If you hire a credit company, what will happen is that the people, the collectors, will send you hate letters. It says, you're not allowed to have somebody help you. Yes, you are. You are not the person you say you are. You say you're Senior Gomez, but Gomez has no children. So you have to take a copy of your driver's license and a little bit of proof. Just make a package, because all of them do it. They try to delay it, and just send it back to them and send it to your credit repair company, and they just keep banging the letters out, banging them over and over. Pretty soon the creditors go, screw this. Let's pick on the poor widows and orphans. Don't pick on guys that have the money and the smarts to get a credit repair. Now, here's what helps your credit, okay? Credit cards. Now, if you're so screwed up, and I never have been, believe me, well, I can't lie, I've never lied to you guys. I just read this in a book, okay? A credit card, Visa, is good. Now, your credit may be so screwed up you can't even get a credit card. Go in and give your local credit union or bank $300 for a secured credit Visa card. Those are reported right on there. Now, it didn't used to be reported secured. Your $300 is securing that credit card. Well, you stay on that for 3 or 4, 6 months, and the bank or whoever you got the card with may give you a $500 credit card, and then it will not be secured. But it's reported every month, and it's revolving, and that's important on a credit application. A car loan is important on a credit application, and mortgage insurance or mortgage paying for a house is very, very important. Now, here's some of the frustrations that Gomez has warned me about. Let's say that you owe the credit company a lot of money, and they say you have too much debt to credit ratio. Now, they didn't used to do that. This stuff is all new. Insurance, buying insurance on a FICO score, getting a job on a FICO score, that's all new crap. They've got more power now than the President of the United States. So they have a little percentage on there, and it will tell how much credit you have available. Well, if you've got 3%, that doesn't look good. You want that to be 50, 60, 70% available credit. So here's what happens. A lot of this stuff can't be done quickly. You can do it over 3 or 4 months, but sometimes it'll take a year for some people that aren't too smart. Gomez, he dumped $10,000 into his credit card accounts. Well, he had, you know, 10% available. Well, that $10,000 bumped him up to 14%. And so now not all of your companies are your car company, your credit card companies, your Sears, J.C. Penney's, McDonald's, or not, I'm thinking of a Big Mac right now, Walmart. They don't all report on the same day. Now, my experience is at the end of the month and the beginning of the month is usually when these companies report. But I've had a couple of them, so according to Gomez, report in the middle of the month. So sometimes it'll take 45, 60 days for the credit agencies to actually see that you've lowered significantly your debt. Now, that looks good. But the bastards are much smarter today than they used to be. They say, I wonder if he borrowed some money from his parents and he has to pay it back. So they don't raise that score very much until that debt ratio stays down several months, and then they go, okay, they're not living hand to mouth, and they're not living, you know, from paycheck to paycheck, so they'll raise it, and your available credit score will go up. And your scores are not always very close. TransUnion, Experian, and the other one, I can't even remember. What's my name? What am I doing in this chair? Where do I live? Anyway, the scores are going to be very different. Very different. You may have 25 or 30 points more on Experian than you have on Equifax or TransUnion. That's the other one, TransUnion. So what some companies do is they take just one. In the West Coast, most companies take Experian. And it's a hard one. It's usually your lowest score. The other two are usually much higher. And what companies mostly do is they'll take just the one, Experian. But some companies will pull all three, and then they'll take the middle score. The middle score. So, there you go on how to raise the credit score, how to screw it up and get it down. You want to be careful on your debt-to-income ratio. Make sure you can afford what you're doing, and use your secured credit cards to rebuild it. And go ahead and research a significant company that can knock that crap off of your FICO score, and then go out and buy your house, then go out and buy a decent car. And remember, some of these companies can go back on. You know, they'll say, okay, we're going off for 5 or 6 months, but we'll fool him. We're going to go on again. Well, if you keep that credit company, they'll just keep knocking them off of there. So anyway, there is my report from Senior Gomez from Portugal, Peru, and from Guatemala. And he sends his book down to me here in Australia. And one of you wrote in and asked about Kangaroo City, where it's located. I'm sure you're a Mormon. I'm sorry. Maybe they're not a Mormon, and I'm just teasing them. And they go, do you really live in Kangaroo City? I can't find it on the map. And I go, well, you know, it's a small city, and most of the people, residents here, are kangaroos. So, anyway, sometimes, you know, I'm getting old. Sometimes I'm not reading all of my comments. Sometimes the comments build up into the, you know, higher numbers. You know, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. And when you guys compliment me, I read those because it makes me feel better. The others, I've seen. And so I appreciate you. Those that have you sent some money, we've got, I don't know, about $30 now in Wells Fargo again for our fourth hit. The third hit down there in the Philippines for the kids is going for school supplies, a little bit of rice for the orphanage, and toys for the orphanage. None of the kids in the orphanage ever had a toy. And so we're going to buy some balls and some things like that for the kids to play with. So it's gone well. I appreciate you guys. Those that we just, you know, take $10, $15, $20 donations. I stack them up until they're $150 here in the bank, and then I forward it to the Philippines, and my two guys on the ground there get the receipts. And you can go to my New Caribou website where it says Philippine donations, and click on Allison, my daughter's website, and all the pictures are there, all the receipts are there, all the money is counted for, and I didn't use any of your money for a down payment. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody this shit. I have had serious fiduciary responsibility throughout my career. I built a ranch house in California on 10 acres. And I had grants from federal and state and donations from people. And I was the chairman of the board and the director, so it was my signature. And $1 million went through my checking account. Well, when Social Security saw that, they came to me and said, "You're screwed. Pack your bags. We know you're going to jail. You took some of that money for yourself." Well, they investigated me for a year. Then they wrote me a letter of apology and said that not one penny went to you. You spent all that money on the retarded kids. And I did. I did. I just feel of a, I don't want to say sacred, but a very high responsibility when I'm dealing with your money. That's your money. You work for that. You should buy what you want. All I am is the middleman, and I don't take a fee. I don't do anything that way, and no one does in the Philippines. I will give sometimes 5 or 10 pounds of rice to my men on the ground. That is their pay for going to the orphanage and for filling up their motorcycles and loading all the stuff on there. But anyway, I have also been audited by the IRS. I don't know why I'm telling you this shit. 3 times. The first time they wrote me a check for $300. The other 2 times it was a push. So not too many people go through IRS audits and don't owe money. So anyway, I just want you to know that I'm very, very careful with your money. It's not commingled in any other funds anywhere in any accounts. I hold it here in the United States till it comes to 150. Then I send it to the Philippines, and then I demand $150 of receipts. Now, please be aware that the Philippines deal with pesos, not dollars. So when you see Shell credit card or Shell receipt for gas and it's 40 pesos, that's $1. So be careful. The ratio is 39 to 40 pesos to $1. And when I started seeing those receipts come in, I said, how the hell do you put that much gas in a motorcycle? Then I go, oh shit, those are pesos, and it's sold by liters there, not by gallons. So that is, you know, it is $1 a liter for 40 pesos. So anyway, I just want you to know I appreciate having a part in helping those kids. Makes me feel good. And I put a few bucks in there myself now and then because I think it's the right thing to do. So anyway, get your credit card straightened away. I take credit cards right here for the Filipino children. And that's why I'm doing this program, because I know most of you are bums. Get your credit up, and then you can go to PayPal here and we can feed some children. Thanks so much.